We have two new members. We welcome Ben Sheeran and Ken Belton. As I said to Ken a minute ago, I thought you were smarter than this, but welcome back.
Welcome, guys.
So we will first of all call roll. Chris Butler is here. Todd Kennedy
Here.
Gary Rasco
Here.
Jason Baumgartner here. Darren Young. Yep. And for newer people, Darren is a non-voting member that gives his expertise. Elizabeth Hash.
Here.
Ken Belton.
Here.
Betsy Sheeran.
Here.
And we have Tracy Cornett, Lindsay Young, Mitch Smith with us for staff. So we do have a quorum available to us. We missed the April meeting while we got all of this straightened out and got our new members set. So we want to go back and approve the minutes for the March 19th meeting. The only thing that I would add to this before we approve that is, I don't know if they came out in time for Betsy and Ken to see them. We can go through some of this because some of what we're going to talk about directly, it's going to carry over to today. One of the things that we have, I guess we've set a standard of having people come in, and in March it was Kelly Wilmore who came in and gave us a presentation. And instead of putting the board on the right then, you're on the hotspot, what are you going to do? We said, listen, we'll listen to what you have to say, and this is for everybody. We'll listen to what you have to say. We will discuss it at the next meeting, and we'll all come up with different ideas. Do we want to do this? Do we want to do that? How do we want to do it? Is there other funding out there for you? And then bring them back to the third meeting and approve or disapprove and tell them what they're going to get. So that's why when we'll talk about Kelly's stuff today or the school stuff, I don't mean to make it Kelly stuff, but we'll talk about the school stuff today, and that is, and we can read some of that and understand what he had, and we've got a presentation in there still from the last one. So with that, unless if we've had a chance to go through and look at them, do we have any motions for the minutes? Or any questions?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second. Got a motion, Todd, a second. Jason, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. You will find in your packet the financials. We currently sit as of 5/13 at $788,204.54. That is, since we've met last, we've had a loan repayment, a return on investment that we have. Let me see, amount received. Oh, clawback of grants, amount encumbered. So that was just money that had to go through the McAllister Mills. It came in and went out at the same time. Same thing again for the Oak Hall and twice. McAllister Mills, we paid $11,000 out of that spent. I'm not 100% sure what that is. We'd have to think about that one for a minute. So 18,000 came in, 18,000 encumbered, and we spent 11,893. Anyone? Make sense to anybody? We had McAllister Mills up here at 75,000, and that was. We did sign a separate one, correct, Mitch? I signed something for the Tobacco Commission to go through. So there's still 7,000 of that available
Looks like
in
it's
here.
only
That
been partially.
really 6,117 or $7 that's available to us as well. And I see Deb on screen there, and I apologize, Deb, I did not say that you were part of the staff that was here. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Deb Jones is with us as well.
I think that last payment, Mr. Chairman, got McAllister Mills current on what, where they're supposed to be.
For the tobacco?
To the Tobacco Commission.
Okay.
At that time, current.
All right.
And I'm sorry, I didn't know Nikki wasn't gonna be here. I tried to get more information, been prepared to
Oh,
go.
you're okay.
Last
Yeah,
I heard, she was gonna be here.
Looks like that's really the only.
Yeah. I do, for the heck of it, draw your attention to line 85 and Angie Byron, which we gave a grant to. I stopped by to talk to Angie today, and they were already closed, but it looks nice in there. It looks great. She's opened some, and that's great.
I heard a lot of good
I
things
read a
about the
review that
food.
said it was one of the best meals anybody's ever had, so I have not got there yet, but that's great.
I heard she's still trying to work out like the times and days and things, but everybody I've talked to, the food thumbs up.
Looks like the liquor side isn't open yet, but
Not the pub side's not, but I've been on the food side.
I had to get, I'm sorry, I looked at you when I mentioned alcohol.
I feel targeted.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It was a limited menu. I don't know about now, but I went, matter of fact, I went the first day she opened.
Oh,
Yeah, it was kind of a soft opening, kind of trying to.
That's great, and if, she'll let us know when the grand opening is, obviously, and that lets
She
we go.
plans on doing that. I think she's working on a date or may have a date, but one of the things that I heard is, EDA will be
Yeah.
invited.
We'd love to do that, so, it looks nice, it's very nice. Questions on the financials, I'm not 100% sure that I can answer them all, but, questions, I think they're pretty, cut and dry for what we have, and again, an amount of $788,204.54. Any questions? Do we have a motion to approve financials?
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Motion to approve in a second. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Financials are approved. Moving on to for Ken and Betsy, I'll say what I have been saying for the past year to the same group that has been here. As a group, we understand wholeheartedly that this is people's money and of the county's money, and we want to treat it as such and be respectful of that. Having said that, it is also our belief that if we leave here with $788,000 in the bank or in this account, we've done nothing for Grayson County also. So somewhere along the line, and all of our jobs is to figure out how best to use that, when to do it, when not to, and that's ultimately what we're trying to do here as we go. We have some criteria, and we can give you the sheet. Don't have it with me, but we can give you the sheet. We're looking at things like, does it create jobs? How many full-time jobs will it create? Part-time jobs will it create? How much will it bring in to the area? Does it help us as far as tourism? Does it meet the plan that comprehensive plan? Couldn't come up with the word. Does it meet the comprehensive plan? Does it help us move things forward in that? Those are simple things that we're looking at as we go through. I think you guys know this, but to say it, all views are welcome, and it's sometimes best when we don't all agree. So we get some good information. So we've got those approved. Old business ARS discussion. We're going to talk about that in closed executive session as well. But just to bring both of you up to speed, ARS is a program through the state of Virginia, acquire, renovate, sell. We are looking to acquire property. We're looking to renovate property. We're looking to turn around and sell property. The first-time home buyers, they are the ones that have the opportunity to do it first. After that time expires, then anyone can get in on buying the property. Our goal is truly just to try to bring more, a two-pronged approach. One, to bring more affordable, better housing to people of Grayson County. That's one thing. And two, to take areas that are blighted in some way and make those areas better. And the one that we'll talk about later in executive session is one that we think does that. But it could be, times it may be a single house that just makes sense. At times it may be 3 houses in a row. There was some in Freeze that we talked about early on, and maybe that makes sense. But those are things that, that we've already been approved. It's gone to the board, and supervisors, and, they have approved it. So, we get a lot of different, grants, through, the ARS, for us, and, we can go through all of that. Hopefully we'll get all the answers, all the questions answered as time comes. I'm sure, we still have them. We've been doing it for 5 months or something like that. But we're a lot longer, or we're a lot further, down the road than we were at that time. So we're working on that, and my paper got smashed, so pardon me, look like a first grader. But but we've got some of that, and we're gonna talk about that in executive session. Unless anybody has anything they want to do there, we can talk a little bit more about that there. And but I'll listen if anybody's open it up, if anybody has anything that they want to say about it. New business. Hearing none, we'll go on to new business. We've got a grant application from Steve and Kip Marshall, and that was in last month. Is it in this one also? What's the application in this one?
Yeah,
Yep,
it's in.
yep, there it is. And so we'll turn it over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm Kit. That's Steve there. I'll pass that around, Tracy, if you don't mind. First, I want to thank you all for giving us this opportunity to come before the board and apply for the grant from the county EDA. We have a new endeavor that we're really excited about. So I want to share with you all our ideas. And if you'll bear with me, if you don't mind, I'm going to read most of this so I don't miss any of the wonderful important points. So right now we're in the process of remodeling the building that's formerly was called the Pear Tree at 122 West Main Street here in Independence downtown. We'd like to turn it into a vacation rental. It will accommodate up to 2 guests to enjoy all we have to offer here in Grayson. As our business plan states, which I believe Tracy sent you digital copies, I see some of them there. We have that in pictures. We'll have extra amenities, including food and drink packages, possibly some for Angie's, and a kayak rental and shuttle service as well, and any other things we can think of to make our guests' visit more enjoyable. So about us. Steve and I are 10-year residents here. We own Paddle-Yaks kayaks and recently Home Feathers, which I retired from at the end of last year. We ran a successful Airbnb in Freeze prior to that and became super hosts in our first year. We've also remodeled old buildings before, including our current residence at 116 West Main Street, which is right next door to the Acorn House. We have 2 commercial tenants, one's a hair salon, and we just had a new art gallery move into my home area shop. So how does this plan benefit Grayson County? It meets the objectives of your comprehensive plan by engaging our local businesses to meet the needs of our guests. Steve will handle all the marketing while I take bookings, greetings, and daily operations. We also plan to hire a part-time customer. Our guests will seek out local eateries, outdoor activity providers, music and entertainment venues, and shopping. I also know many vacationers who've become residents of the county, including us. Recently, Dennis Harrington said he'd like to rent our place to his real estate clients while they're on their house hunting visits. So I thought that was cool. And we think business travelers would like our place too when they come to visit here for business. So on our cash flow projections and economic impact pages of our business plan, which is here, you'll see more detailed income numbers. What do we need from you? We're asking for a $12,000 grant to match the $12,000 plus that we're investing for the build out. Our investment to date has been a cash purchase of the property. We have no liens or mortgage, and we're fully insured through Anderson Insurance. With this grant, we'll be able to stay within our projected timeline of 1 year or less to completion. You can again refer to our build out page for detailed descriptions of our plant materials and costs. In closing, we'd like to say again, we thank you for your time and consideration of our plan. And we'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. And anytime you'd like to stop by and have a look, we'd love to have you over. I will say that since I've written all this, we have our building permit in place. I met with Chris this morning and he's excited about it. We just learned yesterday that it's actually a timber frame structure. It was built at or before 1877. We found information going back that far in the deeds. And seeing the timber pegs in the framework today when we stripped off the exterior is pretty cool. And there's been some water damage and a little bit of termites in the one corner, which is expected after 150 years. But not
Is there any
too
clue to
bad.
what the original use was?
We do have a paper that states, actually Vicki Hosloner found it for us through the Historic Society, that said it had been a doctor's office, a couple different law offices, and who it had been sold to through the years. Beginning in it goes back to 1877. And that most recently, a lady named Rebecca, I don't know her last name, opened the pear tree, and it's been that since. So that's about all we know about it. Originally, it was called the Acorn Building because of the little acorn that sits at the top of the gable. And we've asked and asked and asked, and we can't figure out where that came from or how that started. But when Steve and I learned that, and we were adding different names around, we looked at each other and said, the Acorn House. So that's where we came up with that. I'm a designer by career, so I put together a storyboard of, see it here, of the look. It helps me to visualize what the building will look like in the end and pick colors and all that. It'll be just the front bedroom. It's a small place. It's less than 500 square feet. So it'll have a bedroom in the front area with a sitting area in it as well. And then a kitchenette on one side and full bath and shower on the other. And a little balcony out back where people can have coffee, look at my garden, have a glass of wine in the evening, that kind of thing. And it's so walkable. We love that it's right here in town and our guests can access all these different places that we have to share. So plans are drawn and submitted. Town council on the 9th passed a zoning change that we were waiting for to accommodate vacation rentals in core commercial. So that has been passed. So we're set and ready to go.
One of the questions I have, and this is probably more for us than it is for you, and it falls unfortunately, Stephen, into your expertise also, but you may have to recuse the question, where is the line of what the Independence IDA, EDA does and what the Grayson County EDA does?
I can speak to that just a little bit. Let me ask you a quick question. Did you apply for the tourism zone in Independence?
We did.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so Steve just signed a memo approximately a month ago for the town of Independence stating that any incentive that the county offers to its county tourism zone participants are also available to Independence Tourism Zone applicants.
Okay, I'm not sure that,
It's available, but is the town
Have you?
offering anything to them as well? I think that's.
Well,
yeah, I'm not sure.
I know there's a
But I wasn't the only
conflict.
one.
Yeah, there's
a-
Yeah, normally that would be the first place we go, but unfortunately, I'm the
Of the
That's what I
time,
said.
yeah, and she's on town council. Yeah,
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 right.
so that just wouldn't work.
That's why we've come to y'all to apply.
Yep. It's kind of a unique place. There's vacation rentals around, certainly in the county, you're well aware of them. Dream Rock being one of the best in the country out here. But there's none in town of Independence. And the uniqueness is such that this is not a sit on a porch and look at the view, because it's not a view. This is a place that someone may be coming in here from Florida or New Jersey, looking at property, which happens almost on a daily basis, certainly on a weekly basis. And a real estate group can put them up at somewhere other than maybe the local hotel or motel or over at Galax or such. Or someone's coming to Chris's for a venue and they're looking for a place to stay there too, or a funeral, or the other thing is business. I mean, someone comes in here on business, they want a piece of place to stay in town. They're not looking necessarily to get a view and pay for a view and pay for that.
We have more amenities than a hotel room. It's more comfortable in that hotel. There's room to stretch out. There's room to fix a little meal or heat up a meal.
It's always a risk, obviously. I know from the town EDA, whether it's grants, loans, or what have you. But you can see our track record. That corner over there, just several years ago, looks vastly improved from them. Okay, and since then, I'm not so sure that Edward Jones would have come in if that wasn't completed over there. So,
Yeah.
Or the yellow building. Now, by the way, the yellow building is the Independence EDA just offered a matching grant to that building too. It's going to be a Crooked Road Market.
Speaking for myself, I don't doubt your ability to do it or your business sense. You've proven numerous times within the county what you can do and how well you can do it. So I think that's a huge plus for you. I state all the time here that I rarely think we set precedent with things, because I think each application is slightly different, and people, I get told I'm wrong every day, but people tell me I'm wrong at times. I will state that, and that's why we have 7 people. What scares me is what keeps 17 to 35 Airbnbs coming before this board in the next year to say, this is what you did there. We need 10,000 to put a new patio on out back or to do something, and we bring people to Grayson County. That is my fear, and been my fear as I looked at it. Now, again, I've stated that outwardly so everybody knows it, but that's why we all talk. Everybody throw out their opinion, or questions.
one thing we've really been trying to do, I think, that we've learned along the way is look at all the resources that may be possible to you guys. We've got grant writers, look at everything when we're taking this into consideration and when we hash this out and figure out if, what does set precedent, what doesn't. You look at all that.
Can you speak to, I guess that's public, what the Independence Town EDA did for Jody, for Crooked Road?
Dollar wise?
Yeah, or how it was
Well,
structured.
it's a matching group. We match 50% of it after it's complete, just for the improvement. Get the receipts in and we get the improvements.
So you'll match 50% of total repairs.
Well, you apply for a certain amount and that's either approved or it's not approved or it's approved as a different amount. In this case, it was approved for a little bit less of an amount.
Okay.
The Independence IDA/EDA has a long ways to go, so you may know that. Historically, it was offering grants of up to $10,000, but it was almost like $10,000. And that slowed things down because you don't need $10,000. The new signage on my building, which you've seen, like that, that's her artwork, by the way. That was approved for $10,000. So it wasn't going to cost that. It wasn't even applied for it, and that's part of me being on. It wasn't going to cost that, and it didn't, but it held up potential funds for other projects because it was out there. So that we wanted to cast a little bit wider net, and we've approved just at our last meeting 3 grants applications. applications, and that historically of them never approved more than 2 in 1 year, and mostly 0 to 1. You know, we approved 3 including Angie's place too. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does, thank you.
So,
Can I
we've
go-
got a way to go though.
Can I go back to tourism zone, because this might address what you're saying, what's to keep so many from coming. They've applied to be in the tourism zone. We have only had 3 applications. That's what gives them a little bit, because according to the way our ordinance is written, if you're in the tourism zone, if you've applied and been approved, then you get priority consideration for EDA loans and grants. And not every Airbnb applies to be in the tourism zone, and not every Airbnb is going to be approved to be in the tourism zone. So just throwing that out.
What does it, forgive me, I probably shouldn't. What does it take to be approved, to get into the tourism?
Well, now, for
I don't even
independents,
know.
I don't know, but I think y'all do pretty much the same thing.
Pretty
You
much
have
the
to put some capital investment,
Yeah, 75.
and we tried to keep it fairly low. You had to add, was it 1 full-time or
1
2
full-time, yeah.
part-time
Mhm.
employees?
Pretty much mirrors what you run in the
Yes.
County.
Yes.
And then do you follow up on that?
They're, it's good for 3 years.
Okay.
And then there are things that they get from that, some free advertising.
And in Independence, it's up to $2,000 is the max, right?
We have a max
Yeah,
on that.
yeah, it's not big
2
dollars, but and there's 70-some communities in the Commonwealth that are doing tourism zone. There should be more. Some are large municipalities like Fredericksburg, and some are counties, entire counties and stuff too. It's not big dollars, but it's feel good stuff. When it comes to you want to start your business in Marion, or do you want to start it in Galax, or you want to start it in Independence or Grayson? Well, neither one of those, Galax or Marion, have tourism zones. So if you want to start a business that is tourism related, well, it's a good feeling when the town or the county has these tourism zones. Others don't.
Do they have to get in the tourism zone, do they have to do it like they are before they ever start their business, or can an existing Airbnb come to you now and say, now I wanna join?
It's a good question. It can be startups or existing businesses. And I brought cards one time and we talked about it, and I should have brought
Yeah.
some. But there are some, it's a little different for each one. I think it's mainly employment is a little different is the only thing. But if it's an existing business, you still have to make that $7,500 capital investment.
Yeah, it's a big. And just to address what Chris was saying, I understand completely what you're saying on that precedent setting and such, but
Yeah.
I just get back to, it is an Airbnb or a VRBO, whatever you want to call it. It's a little unique. It's the only one in the town. And let's face it, coming up 21, if you're coming this way from Charlotte or Point South, that's a gateway to Grayson County right there. They're coming that way. They're not coming that way from Galax, or maybe from Raleigh or Greensboro, but Charlotte, South Carolina, anywhere else, they're coming right at this road. So look how nice this intersection looks now. That's us. That's us. That's that mural that she developed and painted.
And it's a historic building.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
a historic
And
building.
Chris, one other thing I'd like to mention to you and everyone, we talked about that in Independence about would everybody want to open an Airbnb that has an apartment or a house or whatever? And I addressed that. For one thing, Independence in zoning, the planning commission decided that it would be a 2-bedroom house or apartment or less. It couldn't be a big house, 3-bedroom in core commercial. Core commercial is not really big in Independence. The other thing I'd say is that we've run an Airbnb, a small one. It's a lot of work. You know, you just don't open your house up, and with Airbnb, you can open a room in your house. But who wants to stay in those kind of places? You're changing sheets, you're cleaning, you're making it, you live and die by your reviews, and you know that in the business you run. So you have to do it right, you have to know what you're doing, and you have to put in the time and the effort. So not everybody's gonna just turn their extra apartment into a vacation rental. It's not that easy. And sometimes you can make more money just renting it out month to month.
Yeah.
depending on how much work, advertising, and, you add up all that stuff, maintenance, it's not a
Probably a
cash
little
cow.
more consistent income if you rent it out
Yes.
long term.
And a lot less hands-on. So you have to make the investment and decide, if you're going to have that hands-on effort. And not everybody wants to do that once they've thought it through.
I agree. So what we talked about earlier is, as we said, instead of putting us all, and I apologize, we didn't have the meeting in March, that would have, April, that would have moved things along and we'd be discussing it right here today. That was out of our control. I don't want to put anybody on the spot right now and say, okay, you didn't know much about this today, vote on it.
Understood.
I'd like them to, everybody get a chance to talk about it. I want to talk, and it could be that Deb comes up and says, hey, is there, at the next meeting, here's something you guys haven't thought about, and a different kind of funding that we can do that. And we talked heavily on that with Gold Hill. And so we want to do that and then have you back and explain what we're doing. And I don't want to leave being the only one that asked a question and mine sounded negative. I don't want to leave you with that, but I needed to ask that and understand that that thought was out there. I sincerely appreciate what you're putting in. I've got 2 houses that go with the venue, and it's a pain. I made a note, change sheets. I wasn't doing it, so I'm good. This is why we shouldn't be allowed.
That's what I was about to say.
That's why we shouldn't be allowed to have recordings. But no, it is a pain. It's tough. There's for us a lot of money, and so I understand what you're doing, and we thank you for putting it in. Regardless, I applaud any small business that tries to make a leap like this.
Yeah, everybody in here, we all love this town and we love our county. So we appreciate what you've done coming here to improve upon it. And
And we like especially that this is going to involve all the businesses around us, that it's a walkable town, that our guests can walk to the restaurants, and hopefully there'll be a lot more. The coffee shop, the ice cream shop, Angie's new place, Paddle-Yaks. And Steve has had more people come in and say, I never knew this place was here. I drove in to get a kayak, and they're gonna drive right back out. Is there anywhere I can stop and get a sandwich and a beer before I head 2 hours back home? And then they wanna come back. They want a vacation here because it's just a diamond in the rough. Nobody knows about it. It's just wonderful. And we want to be able to bring more people in and have them recognize that.
yeah, we're all on your side. We just have to make sure this aligns. And
Well,
that's
feel
the
free
due
to-
diligence we'll do.
Read through our business plan. If you have any questions, give us a call.
We'll talk heavily about it now at the next meeting, and we'll make it an agenda item. Go through it specifically. We don't need you to be here for that, and then we'll invite you back to the next one and let you know where we're going. Is there any other questions or comments before we let them go? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, wait a minute, Gary had something.
I didn't see the business plan, but is there an estimate on how much revenue that would generate
There
for
is
the
a
county
page for
with
that, yes, that
taxes?
that
and
talks about all that and what we plan, what we expect to in the first year and growing from there. It's all in there.
Thank you so
All
much. I
right, thank
appreciate it.
Thank you. You grab this.
Chamber of Commerce dues.
I got this one.
Mr. Smith, is that something?
The board in their budget meeting, they discussed chamber dues and in their community money that they spend. That was one thing that was in there. And as they discussed it, they felt like that should be turned over to the EDA, economic development, and that the EDA should consider paying those dues. And because the chamber, that what they represent, and the economic development, the business side of it and all, they just felt like the EDA should have more involvement in that effort and possibly consider they're paying no tips.
That might be a
Much
partner. What are the use?
I can't believe that it was $8,000 or $10,000. $8,000 on my invoice.
A year?
$8,000.
And can anybody speak on how much involvement our supervisors have with the chamber now? If they're wanting to pass that over to us? I mean, is there something that they're doing? Are they working closely with them now?
Mr. Belton, as a pay supervisor, has been heavily involved in the chamber. He knows
Steve's on board now.
Steve is.
Steve's on board now.
Steve's involved, Kenneth, you're still, I think, on the
20 years worth. This is my 20th year.
yeah, so I'd rather somebody with all that experience speak about the chamber, what it means to the county, anything that y'all might have questions, ask the man that's been involved before.
Should we have them come in?
They usually do for the board supervisors. And it's not just Grayson, it's Carol and Galen's. I mean, it is economic development because I've been in there with lots of calls comes in and they'll ask, well, who's good place, who's good. And if they belong to the chamber, that's what's on the list. It's fundraising all the time. So,
I feel like even in the new world of the internet and so forth, still the chambers, you're seeing plays a big role in
yeah, they,
placing businesses.
people that call are looking for somebody to tell them, this is a good place to go. These belong to the chamber. Smoke on the mountain barbecue is about the only fundraiser the chamber has. It pays, it's paid for keeping the chamber open. It's a grant.
I would think about inviting them in and do a presentation of what it means to be a member.
So they don't have a director, right? Yeah.
They don't want
Director has took a new job and actually we're interviewing next week.
Jason, you're involved in the chamber too, right?
I am, yeah. Yeah, tomorrow's our last day, so it wouldn't be a great time to,
But that's something that'll probably happen pretty quickly, right?
well, I mean, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah,
Well, the new director is probably not gonna work.
Right.
Don't want to say.
right, that's true.
Is $8,000 a normal, I mean, I'm in the chamber, I'm significantly less than that. How does $8,000 come about? That number surprised me when we said it, not that, I just didn't know. How does?
That surprised you how little it is?
I didn't think it was that much. I mean, mine isn't anywhere near that, obviously. So, the question is, what does, again, value, I just didn't know, how does it differ by employees, how does each?
What are the other municipalities paying? And I wonder how the other municipalities structure it. Like, does Carroll County pay or does their EDA pay? Or Galax, does their IDA
You
pay?
know, I don't know that answer because as long as I've been on the board, it was in our
The
budget
supervisor, yeah.
and, but I can find out.
I think, I'm not certain on this, but I think it doesn't come through their IDAs or EDAs. It comes from the localities, yeah. And best I can remember, Kenneth, Grayson County is the lowest, right? Galax and
I
Carroll
was
pay.
thinking Carroll was the same, but I don't know. Galax usually does more.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the argument, if they have not been, or the current members aren't as active, and it's something that we can utilize as a tool in what we're doing, it's the same. Money's coming from the taxpayers, whether the board pays for it or whether we do. But if we'll partner, or if we feel like and talk about this, that we can get them involved and partner with them and get an ROI, then it's the same money. It's just now we can use it as a tool versus we weren't.
Todd, I think what you just hit on is exactly what the board was thinking. Hey, if this is truly economic development, you heard a 20-year member say that. If it's truly economic development, then let's give it to our economic development.
And I think, just my personal opinion, if our county administrator is on the board and we have 2 board members here that are active part of something we need to strongly
Oh,
consider.
I agree. I just wondered what it is.
I was just asking questions.
Me
I
too.
agree.
I will say, my daughter is the one that's got the new job and leaving.
Oh, she's leaving.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I think, right? And then tomorrow,
Friday, she's doing a ribbon cutting at the pool, and that's her last act.
At our pool.
At our pool, yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the board meetings, I can't remember, it's the beginning of this year, the Board of Supervisors. They put in there, we're now whoever your new director is gonna be, and I think Barb listed this in her job description for y'all to pass on. Cause now she sits on our rec advisory board to help she comes up with ideas and comes to rec board meetings. She joined, she's on the 1908 courthouse board, and then she's something that the town has, some kind of board at the town. And that's all part of the new job description. And I think, I'm sure that they have to do that in Carroll and Galax. She works at Galax, but this board did push for the Chamber of Commerce to get more involved in things happening in Grayson County.
The one that's happening with the town. The town.
Well, and she comes to the rec board meeting, she's helping, like when we do the July 4th concerts and stuff, for us helping with that. And whoever the new person's gonna be, that's gonna be part of their job description too.
All three tourism departments try to meet once a month, we don't always. And along with the chamber and Small Business Development Center, we have applied and received some grants. to do
Yeah,
some
I'm-
media funding.
I think that it's 100% economic development. I agree with that. One question I'll have, and just so we make sure that we keep everything straight, do Ken and Jason need to recuse themselves because they're on the board of that?
And we still have a quorum.
And we do, then we still have 5, which gives us that. Go ahead.
Oh, I would probably have to recuse if you vote today, just because Laura is still my daughter and the chamber. But if you wait till next month, she'll be gone and I can vote.
We got
One of the dues.
We have 4 if that's,
2, 3, 4,
I think
5,
there's a firm
6, 7.
deadline.
so 4 would get us
If you got 4 voting members, you're still okay. So could 3 of them, you still got 4, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, yep, you can still vote.
uh,
Mr. Chairman, I have one question real quick.
yes, go ahead, Darren.
Would we be joining as the Grayson County EDA, or would we just be joining as Grayson County and the EDA funding it?
It's already, Grayson County's already a member. We have members sitting here. The EDA would be funding it. Now, that's a good question, because I was sitting here thinking, maybe, and you guys might, would there be a spot that a EDA member could join the Twin County Chamber, or are we already full up in our capacity, what we have?
Well, then we got 2.
That another one could join if they wanted to. We've already got 2.
I nominate Todd.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think we have quorum here. Todd just got, Todd just got.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't
think you have any Grayson spots open right now, do you?
We got 7 from Grayson, 7 from Carroll.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay,
So
so that's perfect.
we-
And you do have the EDA to the point, you do have 2 EDA members.
Yeah, Darren, I guess the answer is it just goes under Grayson County. But but we know that should any economic calls come in, they should come towards the Economic Development Authority anyway. So I think we're okay. It's as,
Semantics.
yeah, I think a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So anything that comes to the county, whether it goes to the county or to the EDA, is a win. Is my opinion.
Are you a Galax member of Grayson?
I'm Grayson, they moved me to Grayson.
So you are Grayson, okay? So we officially got 2 Grayson County members.
Discuss this, not to make.
Yeah, I was just saying, if we, to move it along, I believe that we should move forward with it.
And I'd like to put a motion on the table to approve the EDA in paying the dues for the Chamber of Commerce and becoming more involved with the Chamber of Commerce through the EDA.
Got that, Mitch, you good?
In the amount of 8,000.
Do we know that that's it, 8,000?
And the math, and that's the.
They usually send a letter that's got the request on it. Is that what was in the letter?
I'm 99.9% sure, if Nikki was here, but I'm 99.9% sure it's 8,000. You could say,
Let's put it at 8,000 for it.
yeah,
And then we'll adjust it if
if you
needed.
need to, but I think you're covered.
All
I'll
right,
second that.
we have a motion, we have a second. Gary?
I just, want we want to put a limit on that.
Well, we're just gonna put
Up to
8,000.
8,000.
Yes, he put 8,000. So we'll vote,
Yes.
Gary, Jess, Todd,
Yes.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
chair votes aye, it passes.
Vote me and Jason's thing.
Yeah, I'm making that.
And
note.
then-
And Betsy. There's no use waiting till next month.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
If we could
As
vote.
long as you have the people to do it, yeah.
We had it, so.
Yeah, all the board will appreciate that.
The high school welding center is the next one. I'm gonna recap this for Betsy and for Ken. Superintendent Wilmore came to us in March with a request to help them put a new welding center into the high school. The one, he showed us pictures, I did not bring them.
They're in.
Are they in there? So the pictures are in there from old and new, the old one's pretty rough. And so this was where we were going to discuss that and what we could do. We had the teacher appreciation last Thursday. Is that right? Yeah, last Thursday over at Eagle View, and I talked to Kelly a little bit more about that. He came to us with a $100,000 request. I leave that out there. He did say to me, listen, to get things immediately moving, we really need 60,000. So I feel like I always give my opinion first, so I'm not going to in this case.
We're just trying to really catch them up on what
Yeah,
was presented.
and so that's, I have no negative opinion on it, and I'm actually very positive on it, but I don't want to swing anything. I just want to throw it out there for discussion and come up with do we want to fund this? How do we fund it?
To me, there were multiple things that this hit a core. Darren talked about a lot of it, but you've got the local farmers that could benefit from welding stations, and they could get certified and trained in welding. But the school can prepare students to be ready to take jobs up at one of our biggest employers, is RPM. So that's really big to me, but because it has a double, because it can work for the community and it works with our agribusiness, people that run in local farms, and anybody that wanted to send a child or send someone to work on their farm into the school wants to get these classes set up to get trained in welding, and they would have that available also. So I think it's good in a lot of different areas. I really like the thoughts of our county and our schools being hotbeds for certain skill sets. Because we talk about all the skill sets that are lacking out there, welding being one of them, electrical, plumbing, carpentry, all those things. There's a great future in there for somebody that doesn't want to go on to continue their education to take a different job somewhere else. Those things are all right here. So I like the way that aligns with every sector.
60% of our revenue comes from agribusiness
And
in Grayson County.
And what you said is important note that I missed, and just to make sure it's clarified, is that they're getting this up and getting it for students that are there right now. And then the goal would be to open it up for adult learning and things like that.
That'd be my question.
Yes.
Did he say
He
will have
said
these for-
he specifically said he wanted to first try to partner with Lithville Community College to do some training, whatever, but he said there was different ways we could do the training for people outside of the schools, and they could dedicate, so many booths or find a trainer. Remember he talking about that post-school hours? It wouldn't be in there when the kids were in there. But because Darren, didn't you say you went to something similar to that for a training
Allegheny.
in Allegheny?
Yeah, so I went to one in Allegheny County, and it was in the evening, like one day a week. They had the trainer come in. He teaches, I think, some of the high school and through Wilkes Community College, Wilkes Community College. And, they just offered it as a service. They charged fact that they didn't charge out of any county residents anything, but they charged somebody who's out of the county a fee just to cover materials. But it was a really good service. They had one thing that I also thought of as far as people who could utilize that is they had several individuals from other manufacturing companies come in who the company sent them for basically continuing ed or higher learning so that they could fix some of their own machinery when it moved down. So they could have somebody on hand who knew how to weld something or fabricate something on a fairly simple level so they could have something that could be quick to get back operational in a hurry. So being able to offer that to manufacturers in our community, I think would be also a benefit.
They had written down, or I guess Kelly had in this proposal, that they request to WCC for 100,000 plus for equipment purchase. Did he talk about that? Y'all remember him talking about that? Or they get anything out of that?
See, it wasn't, I hadn't had anything, last time I had talked to him, he hadn't had any luck with him, but he was still working on that. And he was also gonna try to talk to RPM and see if they would, I think they'd help him partner in a lot of things.
And I wasn't at the March meeting either, but it's probably redundant. But this isn't in the school's budget to do, like there's nothing that the school system can do.
Yeah, no, he just said he didn't have the money available to tackle all this. And it really felt like this really might give him a good starting point too. It's kind of like, you get this start money, then you can get the matching stuff, and you can get this, and you can get that, and you can go to Withful maybe and say,
Yeah.
got this, and if you guys can do this. Another thing to your earlier point that we can really do that we like to do, that if we feel it's important, we can tag certain requirements to grants, saying that if we decide to give a grant, that specifically say with that, we want that to happen, that to be open to the public.
You can see what has his expenses written down there as, and best I can remember, and March was a while back, so it seemed like to me that, $100,000 is a big ask. It's one of the biggest asks we've had since I've been around. But is it a worthwhile project? I think we all agree that it is. I don't know that he's exhausted his other options before coming to us. I felt like that was just kind of I'm gonna ask the EDA for 100,000. If I can get that, then I don't have to do these other things. That was my personal feelings at that. I don't know if that is the case. That's just.
Total was looking at like 300,000 or something total need for the whole project or something.
That's probably right.
I do think it is worthwhile, like I said, to the county, to the things that, we're looking to do for future growth.
If you add up his expenses right there, it's like, that's more than 350 plus the engineer fees. So, if we give him 100,000, is he gonna be able to finish it? I guess that's my thought is,
Yeah, that's another.
we want him to be able to.
One of the things he talked about last Thursday was needing $60,000 because some of this equipment was a 6 month, 6 to 8 week lead time, and he felt that if they could get it done by the start of the next year, if they got it going and got moving with 60,000 to order some of it. I'm not saying that's what we do. I'm just telling you what the conversation was.
And to your point, we tie that 60,000 to something that if for some reason that doesn't get going, that we could get our claws back on.
You can do a clawback.
Yeah.
If the project for whatever reason is not complete, you do a clawback clause.
Do they already have instructors, or is this, would they have to pay for an instructor as well? Would
They
that
have
be
a
an
crappy
additional
lab,
fee?
so they.
They already have
I
instructors.
think
So
they
they
do
do
have
have
to do those building trades, and I guess welding.
Well, the same.
They'd have to pay them
Susie-
to work at night if we're gonna take night classes.
Susie Fox said this morning in our ag committee meeting that Zane is willing to go get certification to be an instructor for this. So they're thinking about molding it into the ag department, ag classes right now.
Lindsay, do you remember, there was a reason why he wanted to extend from 8, that he didn't want to just rehab the 8 they had, he wanted to go to 12, but I can't remember the reason what he gave for that.
why you needed 12 instead of
Yeah.
8?
He gave a reason, I think.
I thought it was just kids who were, you know, the
Just
The
number-
interest?
It's just
the number
more
of kids who he was leaving some
And
out.
were they gonna open it, like if Grayson County students didn't fill the class, are they gonna open it to GALAX?
We talked about that.
They were gonna extend to the other.
Yeah.
They're already doing that, cosmetology,
3 other, JRSUC, cosmetology, and something else.
criminal justice.
WCC has a welding place at Gulfport.
He spoke to that.
And it's not really good, you know, couldn't been the school where the kids are, not having transportation to keep back and forth. So it's not help. They don't have enough people.
Does GALAC schools, will they send their kids to Crossroads if they wanna take it? Or, I mean, do they give them transportation and let it be a class during the day, or do they have to do it totally on their own?
Well, it goes through the, WCC. I just know that they got a up-to-date welding lab there, and it's not full. And I don't know.
I'm just thinking, if he's thinking, we'll fill ours up at GALAC said he's been filling up Crossroads right there, they're not gonna come
That's-
here.
Yeah, I wish they could fill up both of them.
Right.
But they just have trouble getting people, getting instructors.
Maybe they'll figure out they don't need 12 and they need, you know, just fix back to 8 or something.
So that could be part of, get started with X, and then if that's full, then we will expand upon it.
Yeah.
I'm all in favor of anything we can do to increase the skills, because more and more people are choosing, you know, other occupations versus going to college. But, and this is not really, I just wonder what is, when you mention that, what is the most in-demand skill? Is it welding, electricians, plumbing?
And I hear them all, but
Yeah, the problem is we've gotta get the kids to take the initiative and get them excited about getting in these areas because
I
from
do
what
think
I
it's,
see, if it's not a video game,
well, the fact that it's right in the school, I think, is a plus. If you don't have to go anywhere, you can just,
yeah.
you know, when I was in high school and we had different shop classes we could take, and it was just walk through it.
And I really like the fact, you know, RPM is such a community-focused organization. They care about the community and they put money back. And I like the fact that we'd be partnering somewhat with them and helping to provide our kids for those jobs. I think anytime you know,
Just providing internships.
Yeah.
Watching the board of supervisors do their workshops and all this lately, there's a real, almost like to me, a trust issue with the school and the county and how they're spending money. Like supposedly there was a deal made with Kelly and now that deal's falling apart. And so that's part of the reason they're saying, we're not gonna give you money. This is just me watching board of supervisors from home. So, and I think the welding bays are great, but is there some way that we could do it like, all right, once you get this done, we will pay the invoice instead of just saying, here's $100,000 or here's $60,000? Is that even legal for us just
Yeah,
to
we can
say,
tie it to things that have to be done.
instead of just giving him the money?
Yeah.
That
Well,
we
we
can
may have
say,
to
we can pay
upfront.
them.
you look at Angie's, we said, you know, bring us, here's a list of things we're
Yeah,
gonna say that are tied to that we can call back, and we've done that a lot, with the, X-ray machine, the equipment from there.
yeah.
We can say to Kelly, bring us a list, and we're
Yeah,
gonna approve.
and you have, basically, we should tell them they have so long to show, like with the Apple, they have so long to show receipts, how they spend that money, or we take it back.
I'd like to see how many kids own weld. You know, I spoke electric part to the school every year. And what was most disappointing, and I'd always ask the question, how many of you seniors, juniors want to stay in Grayson County and work? I had one little old girl. That's disappointing. And if the kids is not home jump in there and do it. I mean, that's the thing, that was so disappointing. And every year, they did the same thing. I'd have one out of 20 that would say, I'm not saying that, you know. You gotta get them to say Grayson County.
Well, that's been a point all along, that we've been saying that.
Trying to do the housing and then try to do these things that'll tie to Grayson County jobs. I think all we can do is make our best effort to create the atmosphere and give them the teaching and invest what we think is in the right places, provide those things and encourage that. And then I think the problem is, and I don't know, I love children, I love and I put our kids up against any in the entire state. But I think if you went down there and asked the whole graduating class, how many of you want to work? Nobody's gonna raise their hand. They want a check. I want to work. And I hate it, but I feel like, I honestly feel like that's where we're at. But I don't know what to do other than to keep encouraging and putting things in place to incentivize, like, eventually you're gonna need to eat. And when you get hungry, if you learn to weld, then there's jobs up here to weld. And if you can have a welding job, here's these houses that you can afford, because now through the first time home buyers, the EDA, I mean, my gosh, I would love to have a deal like they're talking about. We're gonna be able to get people for a house. Holy smokes.
Yeah, the alternative is to give up. That's not what we're gonna do.
Right. I mean, that's all I know to do is try to continue to invest in the right places, which is in the kids and in the jobs that we have here, not just the kids. I mean, they're quickly becoming men and women. And then when it overlaps in areas that we can benefit in our farms and so forth too, and then at least you feel like, but the griping and the back and forth with the schools and the county's been going on for as long as I can remember.
And yet-
That's never gonna change. It's never gonna stop.
I guess I'm just listening to also,
Yeah.
by serving on this, I feel like I'm kind of representing people that are out there talking. And they're saying this, what's Kelly doing with the money? Of course, the football field, I'm not gonna go into that. But so it's just put this red flag on, because this is still tax dollars that we're
Right.
talking about spending. It's like, what's Kelly doing with the money?
At this point, we could say, trying to incentivize kids to learn to weld so they can go make money. I mean, I don't.
So if we make it specific, if we vote to give this grant and we make it specific, I feel like that circumvents those questions, right? We can't stop people from talking.
No,
But that protects
and
us.
for me, I'm not doing it for Kelly, and I'm
Yeah.
not doing it
Right.
against or for the board. I'm doing it for the kids and for what I think's the best for our
And
kids.
I do
I
too.
know-
That's why
I
I'm
know
saying,
you
what's
do
the
too.
best way
Yeah.
we can do that and
Yeah.
still protect
But what
the
you're,
money?
and one of the things we've talked about a lot the last couple of years that you're gonna find that's weird with this too is some of these companies and businesses that come in here and want money. As a person and as an investor, you wouldn't invest in that business. But we have to try to incentivize these businesses to create jobs. And
Right.
so it's weird. It's like, I wouldn't give you $10, but through this, and because we're trying to incentivize, create jobs, it's like, I gotta put a different hat on. And the bankers that are in here, it's tough. And yeah, it's taxpayers' dollars, but this money's sometime was taken out of taxes, but it's been sitting there for a long time and it's not creating anything. So we could be a savings club.
Yeah,
We can talk and bring people in here and talk about how to invest this $750,000 and just feel good about when we finish our terms that we didn't spend any money and we turned that into $753,000. But that's not what I want to do. But I'm the only one member and that's just.
Well, I like the idea of, we have certain milestones or benchmarks to say, you have to meet this and then, okay, then go from there. If there's more money available, we can, but there's gonna be some progress. And I like the idea that if we say we fund X number, 5 welders, 8, whatever, and the class isn't full, we're not gonna come to 3 more unless we can show interest.
Yeah, unless they're full, back to your point, unless there's more kids that are wanting to take it than they have boosts.
Darren, you have a question? Comment?
Yeah, I was gonna make a comment on, tying it back to some sort of, community usage or community involvement with it. Making the fund somewhat dependent on them being able to provide that service to the community, because, me personally, I'm, in favor of this. I think it's a great thing, but as far as the kids who actually go through the program, some of them are gonna stay here and maybe work part-time or work for another local business, which would be great. A lot of them, once they get certified in weld, the money in that industry is a lot of times away from here. They may be on the road 8 months out of the year and still live here, quote unquote, but they're not necessarily spending their money here, not all of them. Anyway. So being able to, well, I think it's something that we definitely need to, as a county, or as a school system, to be able to provide that and provide the education for the kids to be able to do that and build themselves a great life. I think us putting the money out there to it, pulling it back to something that everybody in the community can utilize as taxpayer dollars. Those money does benefit those who may not be looking to go elsewhere in the nation or in the state or wherever to work here on campus. So kind of incentivize bringing the education to people here in Grayson County or in Grayson County. So just playing a little bit of that to get on the education piece for the students, but I do support the idea, and I think it's a great thing.
Can I have something just for clarity and on my mind? Because we're sitting here as the EDA, not the school board, not.
Right.
So, and I support the kids, that's not what I'm saying, but in the roles that we're playing here, do we have to set aside our feelings for just helping a kid get an education to go elsewhere, or do we totally need to look at is what this doing truly helping Grayson County economic development?
The answer to that is that there's not 7 AI robots sitting in here. There's 7 human beings that can't, that can't put which is why we just had these 3 recusers set, because sometimes you can't put those feelings aside. I agree with what Darren's saying. I also believe that it's great if we can educate some kids. And if out of 10, 4 of them stay and 6 of them go, we still have 4 more people here that we didn't have here. Is that worth it? I don't know. That's for 7 human beings to decide. But it's hard to do. That's a hard thing to do. And so the answer to that, I think we have to look at it as, does it economically help our county? I think that if we have the ability to get more people local up to RPM over to, McAllister Mills. It was the last name. I almost said it. McAllister Mills to farming, which is as Mitch said. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but I think it goes a lot in the right direction. I have a few things that I would.
Percentage came from our ag this morning. Our board chair actually talked about 60% of our revenue coming in, and only 0.6% of the taxpayers' money goes toward agriculture. Even though 60% of the revenue comes in.
6 cents of every dollar, but
No,
6 tenths.
yeah, 0.6 of a cent.
6 tenths, 6/10 of a cent.
Yeah, 6/10.
Less than a penny.
It's like a.
Not
yeah,
even
less
a
than
penny
It's
of our tax.
I put that down to 5. She said that so she could erupt over it.
Let's go erupt too.
Yeah, and so it's an investment in that as well. It could be a stipulation can be that within a certain period of time, it has to be opened up to, because I see that as something that helps us tremendously is if it's opened up to adult learning.
Yes.
And so if from the time you go live on this within 6 months or within X amount of time, you've got to open this up for adult learning so that people can get in there. That helps the farming community and the ag community and so on, I think. But I said I'm wrong every day. Some questions I have for Kelly. How many take the class now? How is the money going to be spent? How do we know that this will be finished? Those are fair questions that people have brought up that we can get him back. We weren't going to approve this tonight anyway. We're going to approve it next next month. But I think it's good to come out of here with an idea of, is it worth bringing them back? Is there enough people that have interest in it to bring them back? Or is it something that we as a group do not want to move forward with, and therefore it's not something to bring them back for? As I said, I too often put my opinion out there first, but that's just because I'm speaking most, I guess. If Kelly can go back and answer those questions and say that he's going to open it up, I'm in favor of bringing them back and having it looked at as far as something that we do. Whether that's 60,000 or 100,000, I think that's something that we also, could be 60 now, more later. I'll shut up from there.
I concur with what you're saying. I'm in favor of it now. I think my biggest question is, I agree with making it open to the public, but also, is 60,000 gonna get you operational? If your total budget's 350,000, I'm not saying that we're gonna give 350,000, but we don't wanna just give him 60 and then he can't do anything. If it's 100, if he has 100, what is that number that he needs to get started? Or maybe he touched on this and it's not in the minutes or I missed it. Does he have does he have 100,000 to put in, but he needs our 100, so then he can put in 200 and then he's functional? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that number to make sure it's useful? We don't want 60,000 going out our door and then it's sitting dormant for 5 years till he can find other funding.
But to Todd's point, it can be that it has to be functional within a certain period of time or else it comes back. But
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we don't want welding machines.
Right.
It's just the EDA. So
Or
we
the
can
money-
get that on the front end.
the
That'd be
money
good.
back, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, just a reminder, you got one more agenda item, and then you got closed session, you got 15 minutes to get all that.
And the next item is apparently time.
Yep.
Gary, would you want them to come back, or are you a hard no on this?
No, I would welcome them back. We just asked some questions, but I would welcome them.
There's no judgment on this. If anybody is, again, I don't want to waste his time.
I welcome him back. I just don't know what's the right move. I can't picture it in my head because, I mean, if you give him 55,000 for the architect and the engineer, and that's as far as it goes, that money's gone and you've got nothing.
Todd?
I welcome him back. That's.
Yeah, I have some questions.
Yeah, I would.
All right, we'll bring him back in there. We've got these questions. I'm gonna get these questions to him ahead of time, obviously, so he can come in with an understanding and really break down. If it costs 350,000, this is the main question of everything that's on here. That's great. How many kids take it? Everything else. The main question is, if it's 355,000 and we're gonna give you 100, let's just say that just to help. How does this thing get functional?
Well, I did ask him, and y'all make sure I'm remembering this correctly. I asked him that if he was going to proceed with this, even if we didn't get involved, and he said he was proceeding either way. Did he not say that?
Yes.
So,
Okay, we're gonna bring them back in. Thank you all for everybody. It's meeting time. You gonna say we should go earlier?
Meeting time, if you think this is an issue, starting at 4 o'clock and having to be out a lot of times about 5:30 or 6 because of the meeting afterward. It was a suggestion that maybe we could start at 3 o'clock and not even bump up against close to, as you see, 5:30 or 6. So,
It seems like this is happening very
Oh,
often. So we need to do something.
You have a real job.
I cannot.
I can't, yeah.
I'm flexible.
Like I'm the only one
I
in the room who has a
cannot.
real job.
What the other? Yeah.
And there was even
I don't.
Linda, we were discussing, said maybe 3:30. If they can't do 3,
Yeah.
can they do
3:30
3:30?
doesn't work either, right?
30
What about a
minutes
different
would
day?
probably
Yeah, the conference room's not an option.
That puts a burden on Linda, that puts a burden on IT when you're trying to set up both places.
Does it have to be a Tuesday?
That would be a Linda question because there's other meetings and other functions going on in here and all, so you gotta coordinate
Let
everything
me check that.
to make it fit.
I'm retired, I'll tell you that.
Well, I have Rick Board the first Monday of every month. That's fine.
I don't know that we take, because I want to make it available to you, obviously, to you. So let's ask if there's another day that,
I cannot. I work in Central Time now, so I'm already having to ask off earlier than I
Does
normally.
4 o'clock any day work?
I can make 4 o'clock any day work.
Okay.
And is there a day that someone can't make work? I mean,
Fridays.
yeah, I'm not gonna do a Friday.
Let's try to stay away from Mondays and Fridays if possible.
So we got Wednesday or Thursday. Sick of work. Yeah, because we're out on Tuesdays. Okay.
Or
Well,
does it have
well,
to be the?
that was gonna be the other
second?
track. Does it have to be
Whatever
the
we're
second
at.
Tuesday? And we'll have to check with Linda what the schedule
Right.
is. So it could be the
Didn't say how it would be.
third
It does
Tuesday or
have to
something.
be. I think it's in the bylaws, it's gotta be the second
Yeah,
of the month or something, it seemed like, but I don't know.
Well,
Our real job will just be-
Yeah.
We,
You might be hampered by that unless you change bylaws.
yeah, member time. I don't know what that means. No. Good. Executive session, we're gonna,
That's if a member, they should have already talked to you before the meeting, but that is if an EDA member comes in and says, Chris, I'd like to add this to the agenda.
okay.
That's during that time. But they're supposed to talk to you before then.
We're gonna go into closed session, relating to the, acquisition or disposition of real property pursuant to 2.2-3711 A4 of the Code of Virginia involving criminal arrests. Remind me.
Need a motion